Welcome back to the Now Morning Show. Things are getting exciting this morning as we chat about the National Budget 2023-2024, especially when it comes to perspectives on agriculture. I want to welcome the President of the Carlson Field Village Council, Mr. Shiraz Khan. He was here before and he's back now that the budget has been read. Good morning to you, Mr. Khan.
Pleasant good morning to you, your listeners, your viewers, everybody who are excited, who fix, who want to fight. But today is
which category you fall under?
I in the middle.
You're in the middle?
Yeah, I in the
so you're
middle.
kind of excited and you kind of want to fight?
Not excited, kind of vexed, but I also had to know that there's a reality, we had to go with it.
Right. And sacrifices
because
must be made.
I felt very good in the beginning listening to the budget. All it was so long, I had a break in between because you don't have animals to see about.
Of course.
And you know, they want their attention and so on. But when he started off and he said that, Mr. Speaker,
Madam Speaker, sorry.
I know that. And listen to the Carlson, Mr. Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, some of the critical sectors that will receive significant funding for capital expenditure as follows. Agriculture is the first one.
Agriculture is the
So
first
I said, all right, I got a little goat milk, and when that finished, I got a little coffee, and I said, well, look here, things going to go good. And then we come down, we listen to the talks and so on, and we had the presentation, we come into agriculture. And when he reached agriculture, he said, one of the interesting statements I got is that the food import bill that has been bandied about for a long time keeps saying, no, it's not that. And he is saying that the food import bill in 2022 is $7.3 billion. And then this year it's going to be higher because a lot more imported was done, because what happening is that you've seen so much money involved in importation. Why it is a chunk of that cannot be invested in producing locally? Because he said, just one quick second, food security is high on our agenda, and we are redoubling, remember that word, redoubling our effort to change the dynamics of the sector, making the agriculture sector tax-free in an essential component of our policy framework, right? So, again, I was excited. I pull a little nuts and I eat it because not from the CPL. I still have some leftovers from CPL. I think. But when I hear that the budget was no different in terms of the figures allocated to agriculture, that is when I got a bit...
So even with the figures that have been previously allocated to agriculture and this figure that's been allocated this year, he still said that the agricultural sector, this is one of the first things he said about the agricultural sector, is that it's been on the decline, recording a low level of less than 2% GDP over the last 5 years.
It's for the last 15 years.
Okay.
For the last 15 years.
But why do you think that is, that we're recording such low levels of GDP?
You see, what happened is that we keep talking about diversification for a long time. In your program last night, you hear somebody say since 1956 here in diversity. And it has not happened. I listen to some of it because I'm coming here.
Yeah.
So I wanted to get somebody. They say that I keep hearing that we're going to diversify the economy, diversify the economy, diverse this, diverse that. But it's not happening. Now, what has happened is that within the last 3 to 4 years, we started feeling this change in the global warming problems,
climate change,
and then you had the problem with COVID, which made it more difficult for people to
the whole economy.
Of
but
course.
we were the essential service at that time.
Right. One of, yes.
Yeah.
One of, right.
After he mentioned the initial essential service of the police and agriculture came after.
Of course.
So we continue to produce, we continue to sell because people have to eat.
Of course.
So our sector started deteriorating. But what have happened in that time gone by there? We did have some difficulties in terms of acquiring necessary greens and so on, because everything actually is imported and we assemble it here.
Right.
Because for the chickens, we import the chickens, the feed, medication, everything, we assemble it here. So our chickens is locally produced but foreign assembled.
Right.
Right? We have that problem. We have all the grains coming in. So after COVID, we end up with Ukraine, Russia.
Right.
Okay.
Right? But prior to that, in the COVID thing, it had the post-COVID committee set up, which we had done a tremendous amount of work and submit a plan to the then COVID committee, to the Prime Minister, to using a boost into the agriculture sector of using a lot more local stuff
Right.
to make a local feed. We may need some foreign things, right? But we was thinking about boosting the cassava sector, the green fig sector. Because those of us who grew up in the countryside would tell you, my friend there from the Tazul area, central area, would know that they used to feed their animals, cut up. Some of my friends, although I'm a Muslim, they had pigs. They never used to give them feed because it had an abundance of cassava, sweet potato, bananas, and so on. Away from the market, people grow their animals. Now it's no longer there because it is more into the warehouses and so on. So we had that happening, but it has changed drastically after COVID.
Now, Mr. Khan, let me just jump in here for a brief moment because you spoke about, of course, the allotment not having changed, and that brings concern to you. But what about the fact that it has been mentioned, all right, so they're actively seeking to expand the agricultural industry in particular. How does that make you feel, and what are your views on it? Do you think it's something that can make a difference?
If they have the resources to expand it, I'm not seeing that here, because if you could recall, and it's something that I don't ever forget, in 2021, we were given $500 million plus the budget.
Right.
Right? And that went straight back to the Ministry of Finance. Nothing was done with that $500 million.
As in farmers were not able to access it?
Not farmers. That was only for the Minister of Agriculture to use PSIP investments.
Right. Right.
And then we got 300 last year. Right? Most of that went back because one of the projects we were looking at is what we put in to use the local ingredients to make a feed. And that almost didn't use much of it, that going back. So we have 400 million this year. But remember, all the budgets that come in at 1.278 something, plus that 5, the budget remains less. Now last year, fortunately for us, we were the second lowest. This year we are the lowest.
No, you're not the lowest.
Yes.
You're just the lowest in the big chunks.
In the big chunks.
In the big chunks, because it have some sectors not even on that list.
This is true.
Right?
It have some sectors not even on that list you're looking at.
I could only go what he presented.
Right, and that's what I'm saying, is that he didn't call all the figures for every single sector, right? So you consider yourself lucky in the first place to even be able to be counted among the big name sectors. Let me start there, right?
But being big name and the smallest amount is...
Hey, what you going to do? Taking it as it comes. Now, one of the things that the minister did mention is that the task ahead are clear, and our attention to food security will not be diverted. So that's one of the things that he said is why he's allocating the further 400 million in 2024, comprised of 250 million as incentives to farmers and 150 million for the development of infrastructure through the Palo Seco Agricultural Enterprises Company.
Okay, so fine. You're going to go through Palo Seco and you're going to deal with some new farmers down there. Right? What happened to your existing farmers? Because he said he spent a lot of money.
Well, that is in addition to the regular allocation.
But what he said is that he has done 661 young people. They are coming in. But we existing farmers, we ain't old, we ain't over the hill. Right? We need help also. Because nothing was said for the livestock sector. If you didn't hear anything, and I am hoping to hear in the debate down the hill that what they're going to do for period lasting, because right now, let me tell you something, the farmers, I myself, I remember last time, I don't want to say it again, I suffered tremendous losses. Up to 2 nights ago, farmers lose heifers and so on in Carlson Field. They're stealing still. And the thing about it is that this will get onto the market probably for a peppercorn cost to the person who buying it, but an expensive stuff for the consumer.
I mean,
it continues to be that problem.
But he did mention it in the budget. Has it been mentioned previously?
Many times. Every year we mention
and that. And you see no change.
And we not. What happening is that actually deteriorating, because right down to just 1 or 2 offers in the station and no vehicles. And those vehicles are 14, 15 years old.
Well, the vehicles, you say you're going to improve vehicles too.
I know that
So
last year.
What do you want to see when it comes to perennial larceny?
We need to get, when we started off in 2008 under Karen Innes to Shara with the perennial larceny unit, we had 180 strong. They were effective.
Right.
Very effective.
How much is it now?
30.
For the whole country?
For the whole country.
So you don't believe any minister's promise to strengthen the perennial larceny squad?
It's only that 3 years now.
And it's been 30 for 3 years now?
It's still bad for the 3 years now. In fact, we had about 60 officers last year. And because of of the Ministry of Agriculture handles them, their rates are totally different. Although they go under the SRP, their rates are totally different to what the TTPS pay their officers.
Right.
Totally different. And that is one of the reasons why.
But I'm sure their training is also very different.
No, the same. They were trained
It's
in the
the same?
barracks. They were trained in the barracks.
Okay.
So what happened? They went all the training that they took, but their salaries is a gross difference
Right.
between the two areas. Hence the reason why when Gary Griffith became Commissioner of Police, and he was pulling all the officers, a lot of them left the PDL last in the squad and went there. So you understand is where it have more corn, that is where the fall go in the field.
Generally, that's how it
Yes,
goes.
That's how
Yeah.
it goes.
One of the things mentioned was rehabilitating some roads, some access roads. Is
Well,
that?
the
Do you
thing-
see that as important for the sector?
Important, but I hope it doesn't come like all the other things where the swimming pool going or where the this going or the savannah going or the stadium going in areas that is basically government control, right?
Okay.
I am hoping that we have people in Tabakit, we have people in Caparo need roads, we have people in Carlson Field. If you come and drive in some of the roads in Carlson Field, we get some attention now from the councillor, right? But if you come and drive on some of the roads where the farmers have to pass, right? Now, it is not a farmer going down the road with 10 pounds or 100 to 1,000 pounds of pumpkin. These are farmers have to transport their milk in churns. I don't know if you know the silver
Yeah.
can. And it's falling down. We have farmers that are going through the roads are bad. And then what happened is that Carlson Field has now moved from a secondary road to a primary road, or a primary road to a secondary road. Because long ago, you would get only about 50, 60 cars passing. Now it's thousands, because you have a lot more communities in terms of the Susu lands coming into play. We have Cashew Garden Phase 1, Phase 2, Phase 3. You have other housing developments going up there. So Carlson Field now are more traverse.
Yeah.
So you have people that they don't understand the concept about the farming community. We have a lot more animals being knocked down and them kind of thing. Now we have no problem with development. But what I'm saying is that we need to treat that area just as good as any area also. So if you're going to rehabilitate roads, are you going to meet with the farmers organization and say, well, all right, which is critical? With agriculture associates like us and so on, and say, well, all right, where is the critical area? Because what you want to do is to put the roads where you could get maximum production. Additionally, you want to put the roads where you could create now a more high volume usage of estates or agriculture areas where people cannot get access to land. Look, we have some farmers we went there with Minister Clarence Rambert in Jackson Chase in Point 14, right? And it have other areas in that area that people can't access. They have to plant planting material and walk back out in it. So when you could have done 20 acres of planting, if you have access via vehicles, you only now doing half an acre because you want to be able to manage that.
Yeah.
But you need to put the roads, and you need to, because a lot of roads was not done, and was depending on the regional corporation or the municipalities or the borough to handle some of those roads.
Yeah.
And they keep complaining here that they haven't gotten their funds.
Enough
So what
funding.
you need to do, if you want to boost agriculture, and I want to give the minister a challenge, both of you all, anybody else, if you want to reduce this food import bill by 50%, give me that $400 million. And if I do it, I'm going to live my life in jail. I am giving, because I know we could do it, because the problem you have is that there are certain commodities that we will never be able to produce commercially in Trinidad and Tobago. The pulses. You know what the pulses, right? Pulses. All the split peas, the chana, the nut. We could never produce that commercially. But
President,
my God, why should we be importing parsley or cucumbers? Right? Even
Interesting.
tomatoes.
Yeah.
President Shiraz Khan, it has been a pleasure to have you on the show. we need to bring you
The
back.
time must fly. But I do want to pay attention before just before we go. I just want to pay attention. Of course, we still have to hear what the Minister of Agriculture has to say in breaking down some of these
Well,
things.
I said
so
that.
some of your challenges may be addressed. So I think that we can pay attention to see how it unfolds for the rest of the week. I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed for you too.
Inshallah.
Yeah, inshallah. Yeah, we gotta keep our fingers crossed as well.
Quick one, right?
Quick.
I suppose I mentioned, I don't know time. we have a problem with the artificial insemination unit of Trinidad and Tobago. We have only 2 people running the whole country without vehicles, without gas. And this is because a man cannot mind 3 cows and have a bull to breed them because it is not financially viable for doing that. So we dependent on years gone by for the AI unit to be running.
Yeah.
What is happening with it? We didn't hear nothing on livestock.
So that's what I'm saying. I'm hoping that the minister, he did say that he can get into all the details. So I'm hoping that the Minister of Agriculture is able to address that, and we will pay attention to see.
I'll be in touch with you soon as
Wonderful.
man.
So, I mean, you issued a challenge and we'll get the feedback and we'll see you on the show again for another conversation. Thank you so much, President Shiraz Khan.
You're welcome.
Trinidad and Tobago, this is the Now Morning Show. Budget Day is here, well, has passed rather, and we're talking about budget here on Now. But guess what? It's time for your birthdays coming up in a few moments right here on Now. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
$6 for celery, $4 for sign. They raise